Got a motion, we enter closed session at 1:02 PM. I'll just write that down here. To discuss personnel matter, legal matter, litigation matter in accordance with section 239(2)B and E of the Municipal Act 2001. Moved by Counselor, oh, yes, sir.
Would you please remove the legal matter, Mr. Mayor?
Oh,
Mr. Ewart will not be attending.
so no legal matter, so it's personnel and litigation. Litigation as well, or no, is it removed? This is just the personnel then?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll remove both those. So that would be in accordance with section, now I need help. Is it 239E of the Municipal Act? Moved by the Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Tuyou. All in favor that we go in camera, that is carried. Okay.
To do attendance. Your worship, I should do attendance.
So we need to do our attendance. I'm sorry. While we're still streaming.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the December 6th council meeting. I'm Jennifer Connor, clerk of Ramara Township. I'll begin with roll call of council. Mayor Clark.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Bell.
Present.
Councillor Snatch.
He is here. He's just in the facilities.
Councillor Fisher is absent. Councillor Tuyou. Present. Councillor Goff.
Present.
Councillor Bell.
Present.
So we have quorum. Thank you. We are live. I'll look to my clerk for attendance now for our council meeting and our public spiel.
Thank you, your worship. I can confirm we have quorum of council.
Thank you. Just waiting for you now, Maddie.
This meeting is being streamed live on the Township of Ramara YouTube channel. Be advised that by attending a public meeting of the Council of the Township of Ramara, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and will form a part of the public record. The chair, CAO, and/or clerk have the discretion and authority to terminate or interrupt the live streaming in exceptional circumstances where the content of debate is considered inappropriate to be published. Thank you.
Okay, call a meeting to order then, and I'll start with my remarks. Actually, I was away for a few weeks, and I know some council members filled in for me at many events, so I'll turn the floor over in a minute. Unfortunately, the day before I went, my emails crashed, and they were down for about 3 weeks, so apologies to anybody in the public that's been trying to reach me at the Ramara email site. Wasn't working. It is now working again, and I am getting those emails. So apologize to anybody that I wasn't able to get back to over that period of time, unless you reached out to me at the county email site. Those were working fine. So who was out and about on behalf? Councillor Tuyu, I know you came to me earlier.
Yes, thank you. It has been an honor to attend on behalf of the township a few Remembrance Day services, which have extra special meaning to me as the mother of a cadet and as the daughter of a Queen's Own rifleman. The first one was in Rama First Nation on November 8th. I walked in the parade and laid the wreath at the cenotaph while Chief Williams and the community shared stories about their family members fighting shoulder to shoulder with the Allies. Local school children from the Rama MKES school sang honor songs and recited in Flanders Fields and Anishinaabe. Students from the grade 8 class at Rama Central came as well for the first time in support of their Indigenous students who laid a wreath on behalf of the school. Afterward, everyone in attendance was welcome for lunch in the community center. Councillor Snutch attended as well, and it was also lovely to see MP Chambers and MPP Dunlop at the ceremony. On the 10th, I joined our friends in Oromadante in commemorating Remembrance Day with their council and MP Shipley and MPP Downey. For the November 11th ceremony, I attended in Barrie, alongside other dignitaries and special guests, with all branches of the military being represented to honor our veterans. With the World War II airplane flyover and hearing the volley fire as the rain was hitting my face, I tried to imagine how the soldiers might have felt in the trenches. We should never forget their sacrifice. That same week, I also had a lovely breakfast among friends hosted by the Ramara Historical Society in support of all the great work they are doing. On the 12th, I was proud to stand in for the mayor to welcome bylaw officers from all over Ontario as they came to the Ramara Centre to complete their training in order to do their part of helping municipalities run as smoothly as they do, for which we are so very grateful to them. On the 17th, I attended the Tree of Hope lighting ceremony to honor the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, where trees outside Rama Police Services were lit up with 5,000 red lights, each one representing one woman or girl's tragic story, as this violence happens to a disproportionate amount of Indigenous women. On the 23rd, at the Simcoe County Greenbelt Coalition Gala benefit, I was invited to speak, along with literary great and Canada's national treasure, Margaret Atwood, to talk about the incredible environmental advocacy work they are doing, and especially the ways that this strong coalition could support my role as a municipal leader in protecting our waterways, given that Ramara is virtually surrounded by water and important ecological features. On December 6th, I was honored to join the Canadian Federation of University Women, who invited me to light a candle at the very moving vigil for the 14 engineering students at Montreal's L'École Polytechnique who were killed on that horrible day in 1989, simply for being women. Unfortunately, gender-based violence continues to be an epidemic, even 35 years later. And just this past Saturday night, I was delighted to attend the Ramara Firefighters Gala, along with Councillor Fisher, who had the opportunity to speak on the mayor's behalf in recognition of our dedicated fire department. It was a lovely evening and a privilege to be invited to sit at Chief Stong's table. There was such a wonderful feeling of being among family in that room.
Thank you very much. Busy month for Councillor Tuyu. Any other members of council out? Deputy Mayor.
Sure. I went to the Remembrance Day at the Brecken Legion. And then I have a couple other functions too. I'm trying to find them all. I did go to the men's venison dinner at St. Andrew's Church in Aurelia. It was 104th year. And the Ramara Historical Society pancake breakfast.
Thank you. And Counselor Bell.
Thank you. I too was at the two pancake breakfast. Actually, it seems almost like I really love pancakes, but I was at the pancake fundraiser for yesteryear's Historical Society. And then again, this weekend, the Lions were doing breakfast with Santa. So there were actually between 140 and 160 children and over $1,400 raised for feeding families. So that was pretty excellent turnout. Actually, the room was packed. There wasn't a space in sight. And I too, of course, was at Remembrance Day. And then the other thing, over the course of the last month, I had the opportunity to go to the Aurelian Lake Country Tourism Annual General Meeting, where there was a ton of great information specific to the Aurelian Lake Country region. So there's a lot of really great data coming from that. And then the Simcoe industry partner through Experience Simcoe County. So there we received the same kind of environics information that brought a lot of data about who's visiting our region. So two really great pieces of data, massive reports. I expect, and I think Simcoe County has said they're going to break it down in a little bit more user-friendly format, because you had to be a statistician probably to enjoy the presentation. So a lot of good information coming our way on who's visiting our region. So yeah, two really great events.
Perfect. Thank you, Counselor. Any others? With that, I'll go to our CAO for your update, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and to residents of the community. On the 13th of December, the township admin facility will be closed early in the morning from 9 until 10. That is the annual staff recognition breakfast, and the offices will open at 10 a.m. Please be aware, next Saturday, December the 14th.
What was the date on that again, Robin? Sorry.
That is 13th of December, next Thursday.
Okay.
Pardon me, next Friday. On Saturday, the 14th, Mr. Mayor, Ramara Firefighter Association will be having their annual boot drive. It's a stamp out hunger boot drive. It'll be at Brecken Foodland between 8 and 1 p.m. Please, if you have an opportunity, go and to contribute. Any funds raised will go to Feeding Families campaign. For members of the community, as the Canada Post labor disruption continues, we wish to advise residents that all penalties, interests, or fines remain in effect for taxes, utilities, and other bills. So if you're expecting a bill from the municipality, have a payment due, or you think you have an outstanding balance, we encourage you to contact finance staff, confirm your balance, due date, and available payment options, including accessing and utilizing the automated authorized payment plan. The township early in the new year will be hosting its recreation master plan open house. That's February the 5th. I have the date that if you can put in your calendar, however, more particulars will be forthcoming regarding the time and the venue shared early in the new year. Please be advised that the admin office and other municipal facilities will be closed from noon on December the 24th, reopening Thursday, January the 2nd at 9 a.m. And on behalf of the staff that I've had the privilege of working with at the Township of Ramara, we want to wish you and everyone a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Thank you very much, CEO. So now I have the adoption of the agenda. The recommendation, the council agenda dated December 9th, 2024, and any additions there to be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu. Questions arising on the agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Just let me get this. Open forum regarding agenda items only. I don't see anybody here, so our public has left us. So now I will go on to adoption of the minutes. The first one is that the council meeting minutes dated November 6th, 2024 be adopted as presented. And one of the minutes, hang on here, had us adjourning at the wrong time, but I don't think it was this one. I think it was the next one. So on these minutes, moved by the deputy mayor, second by Councillor Snutch. Questions rising from the minutes? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Next, we have the special meeting minutes dated November 25th, 2024. Be adopted as presented, and I think that's one with the correction. I think it shows us adjourning at 10 p.m. Yeah, it says at 10:21 p.m. I believe that was a.m. With regard to these minutes, this is where we passed the budget bylaw, I believe. And unfortunately for those, when we got the emails from people with their concerns, it came in an hour after. So most of them were regarding the sewer and water. So then I would ask council if any member of council wants to reconsider based on the new information that has come in on those emails and the comments, if they feel the need to reconsider the bylaw for sewer and water. Okay, I'm not seeing any. So then on receiving that the special county minutes dated November 25th, 2024 be adopted as presented. Did I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Goff, second by the deputy mayor. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Special meeting that the special council meeting minutes December 9th be adopted as presented. And I believe we all have those in a printed form from the meeting we just had this morning. And that's from the public meeting. So I'll get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu on the public meeting. Any questions or concerns? Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Do I have a disclosure of peculiar interest by any member of council? Again, let's say what I do at county. If you find yourself in that situation later, please declare it at that time. Motions of which notices have been previously given. We have none and no public meetings. Presentations and receivings of deputations and petitions. And yes, we have one on the Muley Point Road. So that we received the Muley Point Road petition as information, moved by Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Goff. Questions at this, Councillor Tuyu, go ahead.
Thanks. This was initially brought to my attention by my residents who were no longer able to let their cattle graze in the field by the S-bend due to the number of times vehicles have lost control on that road, broken through their fence, and ended up on their property, resulting in fire rescue emergency services having to come out multiple times. And as you can see from the accident data in the report, this is not just limited to the S-bend. The issue is not that the people are necessarily speeding, but that the 80 km/h speed limit is just too fast for safe travel on this type of road. I mean, Josh, I know that you're almost finished with that traffic study or completed the traffic study in that spot. And it would be great to hear your thoughts before I seek to amend this motion. Keeping in mind that I guess that this traffic study that was done was not done during peak seasonal time when I guess my point is that right now it's the locals using this road who know better and who drive safely and slowly on that road. And I don't know if the study would have necessarily captured all of the new visitors to McRae Park that maybe for whom would be the reduced speed limit would be more beneficial.
No, maybe I can clarify. Are you looking for a staff report in light of this petition then is what you would like to see, Councillor? And then we'll get some comments here. Yeah.
Not really, because Josh had completed a speed study report. So I know that data, and I know that the residents have certainly done their due diligence in requesting accident reports, reaching out to the superintendent at McRae Park, Scott Thomas with the MECP, who doesn't have a problem with reducing this. And just the 12 pages of signatures on that petition to me indicates that the entire community wants this. So I'm just hoping we can.
I'll go to Josh and then the deputy mayor. Go ahead, Josh.
Yep, thank you. So we have put the speed capture cameras up on Muley Point Road there, both northbound and southbound. Currently southbound, it's only been up for 15 days or so. So with the southbound traffic or northbound, sorry, it's only been about 15 days. Southbound was about a month prior to that. So with that information, the average speed going southbound is 75 km/h. Typically, when you're looking at speed limits, you're looking at that 85th percentile. That 85th percentile speed is 84 km/h. The maximum speed that we recorded on that is 125 km/h. That speed's not displayed going on the road. I have it shut off, I think at 90 kilometers an hour. When you look at the northbound traffic, it's actually a little bit less. So the average speed is 65 kilometers an hour and the 85th percentile is 76. So the road is posted in 80. It is a collector arterial road, so it is meant to bring people down the road, funnel them into the areas, the rural road. So essentially you have Bell Harbor, Joyland Beach, and Bayshore. So the road was designed for 80 kilometers an hour. Signage is posted at that 80 kilometer hour layout, which includes the chevrons, the warning signs, everything for those speeds. There has been numerous accidents on the road. It's not, most of it is due to speeding, but there has been instances, stolen vehicles, all other issues like that. In my opinion, 80 is satisfactory for the road, but that's only my opinion, with it being that collector road. So I can provide the full report in the next council meeting. So you guys can all go through that data and look at it however you wish. So
It's odd to me that you're not seeing speeding on that road. They're actually driving 80, even with the large amount of accidents. Now, it used to be, I mean, I've lived in that area for well, my whole life, and you could almost set your calendar or your watch by it. The first storm of the summer, somebody went through that corner. It was, but now it seems to be happening on sunny days. Now, I understand in some cases these were stolen vehicles and people out excessively speeding as a getaway was part of the problem. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I think I trust in Josh and his opinion. I'd like to see more information on it. But one of the concerns I have is when you look at the petition, actually, there's multiple signatures that aren't even from Ramara Township. They're from Aurelia, they're from Moonstone, they're from Oro. They're not actual residents that live in the area. So that concerns me. So I think we need to make sure that when we're looking at how many people are asking for this, it's actually people that live in the area, they're actual residents.
They may be cottages, but yeah, there's no, Councillor Goff, and then
Well, I know you're saying that there's a large amount of accidents on that, but it's based on a 10-year period. So it's 3.3 people have driven off the road per year on average. And it's usually the majority of it is when roads are wet or there's snow. There are some clear accidents that happen on clear road conditions, but I sort of in agreement. I would like to see the information that Josh has verbally given us before I make any sort of decision moving forward.
any other comments? Councillor to you.
I just wanted to speak to the addresses not necessarily coming from that neighborhood. A lot of this, the people who signed the petition are teachers from Upper Grove School that's on Muley Point Road, who feel that there's a problem on that road as well. So.
Thank you. So do you have a report coming, a written report will be coming shortly?
yeah, so typically we keep those cameras up for a month, and after that month period, we'll formulate a report. So
Yeah, and you've looked at the chevrons in the corner. I think we
they've all been repaired since it was brought up, I think 2 meetings ago. The next day crews were out there repairing the chevrons and getting everything back up. So
perfect. Councillor Snutch and then Councillor Goff again.
Since the report says that most people are driving under the speed limit, I think a lot of the reports, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't we find that most people are driving slightly over the limit? So does that mean that people don't feel safe traveling at 80 kilometers on that road? So that was just my one question. And then I also noticed you did traffic counts and speeds on MacArthur. Can you tell me again what that reading was? Were they all over the speed limit or were they all under like this?
I'll have to pull that report up on MacArthur just to
I
confirm.
think MacArthur, the 85th percentile was over the speed limit. It was
I
posted
believe
at
it
60 and they
was.
were driving closer to 68 or something is what the
Yeah.
median.
Yeah.
I mean,
So there's only a few reasons why people slow down. It's either too dusty, too snowy, or they don't feel they're going to be able to control their vehicle. So I'm just wondering what
So-
reason you might have that, why is everyone driving under the speed limit to begin with? Because that would also cut off the people, the ones that are doing 120. If they knew they had a chance of getting a ticket at 60K over, it might be a little different than 30K over.
So based on the concerns
Did I
we
do the
had,
math right there? No, I'm off 10. I'm off 10, sorry.
okay. So based on the concerns that we had for this area, the signs were placed near that S bend to try to see what the speed was going into and coming out of those S bends. So it's focused on this area. To get a complete report, I'd have to move the signs probably one more segment between Muley Point and McRae, essentially Muley Point Lane. And we can get speeds over there. There is concerns of the other S bend, but that other S bend, which is further south, isn't near as sharp as the one between the school and McRae, essentially. So I believe these speeds are lower just because it's going into and then coming out of that S bend.
So if that's the case, you'd have to think the average driver thinks they need to slow down before they get to those.
But even our
S-bends.
warning signage that is posted in that S bend is 70 kilometers an hour. So there is a warning 70 kilometers an hour in that S bend, which is more on key with speeds they're actually doing through the S bend.
Plus they're actually leaving a 40 zone. So you're coming out of a 40 zone and then you see the warning sign for 70.
When
And
you
it's
go-
the same when the locals all know when they come around the S bend, it's 40 coming up ahead. You kind of start backing off. You kind of coast to it at least. Yeah. Any other comments, Dave? Joe?
My comment was gonna be that, yeah, Upper Grove Public School, the teachers in there, that's a 40 zone. All the way almost to the S bend.
I think it's right at Fagan Lane is where it changes, is it not? I
Just
think
past there.
Yeah, right at Fagan Lane. So
Yep.
there was
Yeah.
talk of moving it up to Melrose, the 40, or doing a 60 from Melrose to Fagan, then a 40 from Fagan to the highway.
But you just get too many signs then as you.
Yeah. What is there? One house, two farmhouses, plus 3 on the other side of McRae Point. So
Oh,
maybe
on
a
Moody
total-
Point, there's
maybe
only,
a
there's
foot
2
wide.
driveways. Well, Fagan Lane, but there's only 2 driveways, on that actual whole.
On the S bend?
Oh,
No.
until you get to McRae Park and then there's
Yeah,
some
there's
houses
what,
there.
3 houses, 2 houses,
3. I
2
think.
farmhouses on prior to and a house. It's only 5 driveways.
Driveways, Counselor Two.
I think, if you look at sort of 80 zone, like Rammer Road, for example, you can't really compare it. It's not the same. It's got a much more diverse traffic to it. Like there's massive farm vehicles that are coming through there all the time doing 40. It's part of the our trail system. So you've got people walking and on bikes that don't have a dedicated path. They're on sharing the road. There's, of course, just regular cars and of course the campers and RVs coming in and out of to McRae Park, who again are not necessarily familiar with the lay of the land. So I just thought that it would be better to err on the side of caution. So
Counselor Snodge.
If the speed limit was 60, how long would it take longer to go down the road compared to 80?
I know Dana's done this calculation, I think a couple seconds. Really.
yeah, 42 seconds would be the time difference for all of Muley from going from 60 to 80.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
I'll say that the speed limit change on Fairgrounds Road did nothing. Nothing at all. So just keeping that in mind, if you go through all the work of posting this change of speed limit, unless you have enforcement, really, there's not a lot of change you'll see habitually. People will still travel at high speeds.
Counselor Bell.
And I think the other thing to keep in mind too, and is just the only way that we solve speeding, and we just know now that you solve speeding by involving the LPP. So it's just always, going back to the same thing, which is reporting. And so I habitually repost the non-emergent telephone number and contact information for the OPP. And, that's the most successful way. And I've watched it happen in Ward 5, where a particular segment of the community reports very regularly, and we see the patrols directed to that part of the ward. So I think it's just important to keep in mind, the onus has to be on residents as well to participate in a solution. And the way that happens is to do the proper reporting.
And I think they actually are participating because the speeding is minimal, but the ones that are speeding are the ones that are getting in the accidents, right? So, and the motion is to receive. Do I have any other, Counselor to you?
Sorry, I just realized my mic was not on. It's not necessarily an issue of speeding because if people are actually traveling slower than the prescribed limit, that indicates to me that locals know that this is it's safer to travel more slowly on this road. And I think people not familiar with the area would benefit from the signage. So that's my thought on that. I still would seek to. I don't know if there's support to amend this motion to receive as well as support the speed limit reduction.
Or send it to, do you have an actual official report coming, like a printed one? You've given us a verbal here today.
It'd be very similar. It's just
Yeah.
the spreadsheet of the speeds from the machine. So
Well, put your motion on. I'll see if you have support. Then normally a petition, I'd receive it, but as we've got the report in front of us today, we could deal with it now. What's your feeling on that, Councillor Bell?
Well, I was just going to say, but we could also just amend the motion to make sure that that report is published for the public because
Yes.
it's just only verbal right now. So that at least then Councillor Tuyer's residents would be able to see for themselves what the speed looks like. And it's sometimes a little easier to help people understand why we're making the decision if they know the numbers.
Good point. Josh, do you want to just present the report at a future council meeting or would you rather?
we could even, with the information I have, we can publish it with the minutes of the meeting.
Okay,
I can forward it on. So yeah, I don't have a full month for the northbound one, but I don't think it's really going to change much. So
Yeah. Councillor Tuyer.
My only concern was it's the end of the year.
Mhm.
And I would rather if this does need to come back that we not have to,
Wait through the year.
yeah.
So you'd like to see it, well, if you want to add the amendment that the speed limit be, try it, put your motion on the floor.
Well, just
Did I
basically,
have a mover and a seconder for the petition? I think I did. I did. So you would have an amendment that we do lower the speed limit.
yes, I do.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Snatch. Any other discussion on it? We've heard the reports. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I just, again, the problem I come back to is the petition I counted. There's 51 names on that list that were not they're not living in that area. I don't know what's cottagers, but I just don't think there's enough information for me to support it right now.
So on the amendment to reduce the speed, all in favor? Opposed? So the amendment's defeated. So the motion I have is we receive the petition. All in favor of receiving? That is carried. Thank you.
So what happens with it now? Then it's done?
And we're gonna, sorry, I should add that the motion that we will tag in the minutes, the report that Josh has will get tagged in the minutes, I guess, under this item. All right. So yes, Councillor Bell.
I just have a procedural question because it has to do with petitions. So is it okay if can I just explore this
Yes.
for a second?
That's right.
Okay, so just so I can explain what happened. So we knew that the petition was coming on the Brecon East Crossing. And so we've already received the presentation from the AMO delegation and then the minister's response. But we haven't actually received the up-to-date number of petitioners. And there's also 3 videos that residents took that are showing emergency vehicles at the blocked crossing and things like that. And the intent was to submit those before Wednesday so they could be on this agenda. But what happened was the train was stopped again last weekend for more than 30 minutes. I think it was 40 in the end. And because of that, the organizers, they had asked for another repost and more signatures to get collected. So it didn't get sent in to the clerk until Thursday evening. So it was too late for her to get it on the agenda. So I'm wondering if we still would like to have all those things submitted. They've been submitted. The petition has been submitted. So it's been submitted by the organizers to the Minister of Transportation, CN, and all the people they were submitting it to. But in order for us to be able to support it, council hasn't seen those videos or anything.
Right.
And so normally we would only do petitions on our council agenda. But I'm wondering if we can amend the procedure because it's already been received and it's supplemental information. Could the supplemental information go on the committee of the whole on January 6th so that everybody can see those videos and things before?
I'm getting a nod, yes, and I believe
That's
it's
fine.
combined anyway, is it not? January 6th, is it combined or just committee?
Oh, I thought it was just committee. and we were
Because of the
still doing-
conference.
Okay, I thought we were still doing the council after the conference and that's why I wasn't sure what to do with it.
No, we're doing it. So we will get it, bring it to the committee of the whole or have them get it in for us and then we can see the video. And
Get it on an
receive
agenda.
Officially.
And you've got it now, okay.
And then we'll have it before Rome, which will be good as well. And yeah, that train, did anybody report that? That train, I heard there was a train blocking it for at least 40 minutes. Friday, was it?
I think it was on the first. I was away too myself. So when I saw the social media, there was another whole storm being created and I got the phone calls. And so I actually have gone in and looked again at the legislation. So I have a motion because we can now go and say, as a council, we're resolving that it's a safety concern.
Right.
But I'll wait until we
till the
have
meeting in
everything
January.
received and then I'll bring that motion then.
Certainly have that date. I remember driving by on the highway and both trains were sitting there. I saw the freight train, but the Northlander, they were both sitting there. I'm wondering if the highway was open when I went through, but yeah, I remember seeing them sitting there.
Well, and especially when there's weather, right?
Yeah.
Like, so between the train and then the amount of snow, it was, it really is unsafe.
Perfect. Thank you. So the clarification. So now we will go on to consent agenda. So I have a motion that we adopt recommendations. And why does it say 10-1? It's 9-1, I guess, is it? Reading my motion, 9-1 to 9-10 in the consent agenda dated December 9th, 2024. So can I have a mover and a seconder for the consent? Moved by the deputy mayor, second by Councillor Goff. Questions rising? Any items to be pulled?
Yes, I guess this is part of my, oh, sorry, you did.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No, sorry, I was looking. Go ahead, Councillor D. Can I get you to clear your mic?
I guess this was part of my questions with the CIP because when we received everything, we just received the motion and we didn't see necessarily all the supplemental materials on some of it. So I guess it's procedural because then I don't know what to do. So if we just have a motion and we don't have a document that says we're circulating this to you to ask for your support, then I can't really amend it to say receive and support because all I received was a motion and I'm not quite sure how to do it then because.
Yeah, the other municipalities, when they write a motion or then it will say at the bottom if they're looking for support. It's always within the motion itself that we circulate to so-and-so and other municipalities for support. So it would be, and that's all we ever receive is like if a municipality passes a motion. Like the one from ESSA on the policing, it's the same thing. We don't have the back information, only the motion that they passed, which they send to us if they're looking for support. And if they don't, they're not looking for support.
So for example, on the establishment of Ontario rural, easy for me to say, rural road safety program, the motion that we received to the very beginning of the motion says that we received the correspondence from Good Roads. And I know this has been ongoing because I saw it was at the Warden's Caucus and all those things. So I know it's been an open issue for a while and I could go Google and whatever else, but I think this is something we should support. And I did go compare the number of accidents in Ramara Township to the rest of Simcoe County. And based on population, we seem to be relatively in line with nearly every other component of Simcoe County. So I think it's a good thing to support, but I don't know which correspondence they're referencing when they say in their motion, the Good Roads correspondence received whenever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're
My
referencing.
suggestion would be then pull that one, send it to committee of the whole with the correspondence. And then we can look at it and decide if we want to do it.
Yeah, I think because I think you probably already know more about it because it's in the Warden's Caucus, but it just seemed to me it would be good to have the information.
So why don't we do, so we'll pull 9-7 for a different motion and any more on there, and then we'll send it to a committee of the whole and get that. Because that's the kind of intent. You see it, and if you want to do more with it, then the proper way for that one is to get the correspondence. Any other items? Yes?
Yeah, the assessment cycle, reassessment cycle, sorry, or resume the assessment cycle. I think we should, so if that's what we're going to do is pull them and then send them to committee, then I would ask to send that to committee as well. And then
Now, the assessment one, was it looking for support? Because if it is, we can just endorse it. Because we've endorsed that at county and a bunch of municipalities have endorsed that they need to get on with the impact. Which one was that, Sherry? 9-9? I'm just looking for it here and I'll see if they,
it doesn't look like they had.
9.8. So we can send that one to then committee of adjustment and get a letter to support, or because are they looking for support in their motion? It's to receive for information.
For their consideration to make proper changes as quickly as efficiently.
So you'd like to do the same, maybe draft something of our own.
I think so, yes.
So we would receive this one and then would you want it forward or we'll do a separate motion on it as well, or what are you thinking, Jen? If we want to draft our own letter?
We can, would you care to support this motion, this letter? we could change the recommended resolution that we receive and support the correspondence.
But that's my confusion because they don't ask us to support. So how can we say receive and support? Or is it just a?
You're
assumed
supporting
we're-
their position.
Well, I know, but that's what I mean. Like, if they're not asking us to, I'm just trying to understand procedure, right?
So,
So how can we
Could I-
support if they.
could I-
Go ahead, CEO.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Wawa was specific in identifying to their constituents, putting pressure on the provincial government to move things along. What the clerk has indicated is we could, depending on the appetite of council, support that articulation and have a decision today, support under the signature of the mayor regarding moving things along with changes as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's supporting that's what Wawa is looking for by disseminating this across the province. So I think it's as simple as supporting that with direction that a letter go out under the mayor's signature.
All right. You fine with that then?
Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm trying to understand is that
Yeah.
exactly. It's just a procedure, getting clarity because if they don't specifically say it, then I want to make sure that I know that I'm doing the motion.
But the other one referenced a back document, so that's why we'll get the back document on the other one.
Right.
So, all right, so
Then
we'll
this-
pull that one and we'll support then, any others to be pulled?
In 9.6, the appeals to the appeals Simcoe County pay increase. I would like to support that. And so I don't know if you want to if that's just support to put it on the floor for support.
Well,
today.
we'll pull it as,
If it's a-
we'll pull them all. Yeah, all right. So 9.7 was the first, and 9.8, 9.6. I think it was. So I'll do it in the other order, 9.6, 9.7, 9.8. So on the remainder. So all in favor of receiving the remainder? That is carried. Thank you. So 9.6. That is the letter regarding the Simcoe County wages. You have an issue with the county councilors paying themselves?
I don't have an issue with county councilors paying themselves, but I think that there's a lot of concern among the community over the raise, the 167%. And that there's a feeling that based on today's economic conditions is not appropriate. And there's a lot of confusion about what it is that, and I have, I don't mean anybody any disrespect. I've watched your news conference, Mayor Clark, that you did. And I heard you talk about, and I heard some of the other councillors from other areas talk about, attracting a different type of candidate if there's a little bit more pay. And I do understand the reasoning behind that. But I also think that, at a time when people are struggling to buy groceries, it's a hard pill to swallow to ask for 167% increase. And so as a result, I would like to support that county appeals that pay increase and revisits a different structure.
Okay, you'll move that, you seconding? No, I need a seconder if we're gonna do that first. Put it on the floor, all right, so, yeah, well, before I go to comments, I can say, well, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't get 167% as warden, so, it wasn't even close, to the numbers. I can comment on a bit, it's not really within our jurisdiction what another level of government pays themselves, so I understand that, but I understand too, we look at it. On the tax bill, it was actually 0.03%. Is what it contributed to on the actual 0.03%, 0.03%. So the dollar value on the tax bill was insignificant. However, there is a change. We've had a lot of different things we've done over the years at county council. It's interesting when you've been there as long as I have. We've had councillors that did not want to be sworn in. They were elected as mayors or deputy mayors in their local municipality, and they wanted to know if they can get out of going to county council. They weren't interested in the job or the pay. They ran for their township and they didn't care. They didn't want to be sworn in. Well, they found out they had to be sworn in. So they were, and then they just didn't show up. And so we've had a lot of trouble over the years with attendance, and losing quorum was a big one. So that's when 15 years ago, when we adjusted the pay, that's when we came out with the per diem. If you actually showed up, you got an extra per diem. And that worked a little bit, but then we had councillors would show up and I got to leave at 9:30. I got to leave at 10. So previous wardens would actually dock their entire pay if they left the meeting early. You'll notice at the start of every county council meeting, I will say, does anybody here have to leave early? It's now standard because we would lose quorum. And for once, I've got, this council is excellent. I got 20 new counselors that are really dedicated to the job, but they also looked at the job and said, you know what? The pay is not realistic. So we'll be dedicated to the job. We'll book the time off work, but the job's got to pay a fair salary. So that's the back information that's come to it. I'll leave it to council then if you want to endorse this motion that they relook at their salaries. Any comments, Deputy Mayor and Councillor Scott?
Also, I was the one that made the motion at county and I'll hold that. I've always believed that people should be paid for the work they do. And I'll stand by that. I think that the amount of work that goes into county, people don't realize the size of the actual packages that you have to go through, the extracurricular that you're expected to go to and be a part of. So I think there's a lot of missing pieces that people don't understand. 167% was over a 3-year period until the next term. So it's going to actually be divided up over the 3 periods. And 167% seems like a lot, but 167% of $1 or $10,000 isn't nearly what it would seem like in a percentage form. It's just a way to make it look much bigger. That's my only comments.
Dave.
Yeah, I fell off my chair when I saw my speaker on here. I fell off my chair when I saw the 167%. But as I started to get into the details, I changed my mind. And that's because everyone's heard me oppose the way that we deal with staff increases around here. But that's where the council has always decided that we go out, we hire consultants to go around, take surveys of other municipalities or what their councillor wages are. And then they pick that we should be classified in the 50 to 60%. I disagree with that because you can never get there. But that's what this council approved. And that is the exact system I understand that Simcoe County used to determine this. The reason it's 167% is because I haven't done this in 10 or 12 years. I'm not sure what the exact number is. But they used a process to determine it exactly the same way as our township. So I don't know how we could be in support of doing that percentile survey, competitive pay in the top 60th percentile. How could we support it for our township if we're not going to support it for Simcoe? It's the exact same procedure. So I won't be supporting the motion.
Okay, any other questions? So the motion, Councillor Goff.
Although I supported it to get on the floor so we could have this discussion, right? I have sat in the deputy mayor's chair and been at county council, and I understand the workload that's involved and what county councillors get paid is a pittance for the time and effort that is needed to do your job well at county council. So I know the number sounds large, but it's been long overdue.
Thank you. Councillor Bell, wrap up. I'll call the vote.
Thank you. I think just as well, we're talking about the 167%, but the dollar value was for a councillor went from 18,000 to 47,000. So I know everybody's saying they don't want to hear the 167. So then we'll talk about the numbers. So it goes from 18 to 47. And I guess, you know, I've listened to you all and I knew that you wouldn't support it before I put it on the floor, but it's my job. And so I do it anyway, because I know. But I will always do my job and the residents of Ramara Township feel that the increase is too much and they're not happy with it. And so I'm going to maintain my support and I know you're going to go to a vote.
So is it the 60th percentile you're not happy with? What percentile do you feel county should pay their staff and councillor at?
Well, I think
we aim for this. Is it the 60th we aim for here? We aim for the 60th here. County aims for the 60th there. So what different number do you think we should use for councillors? See, we tried to do it the same as Ramara, where we pay staff at the 60th percentile and we pay council at the 60th percentile. This is what county's doing for the first time ever, is they're going to mirror and pay the same 60th percentile as what we pay in Ramara and what we pay our staff and what county pays their staff. So it's the 60th percentile you're objecting to?
Well, I think some of the questions are around what do you do at county? Because we don't receive we receive the very, very, very high level and non-inclusive county highlights that come to us monthly. But for example, would hazard to say that probably not even everybody in this room knows what committees you sit on. I know, for example, that you sit on governance, but I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go in to read the governance reports and understand how this arose. But I wouldn't know what committees you're serving on, either of you. I wouldn't know what work you are doing. So what the people in the municipalities at the lower tier see is you get paid to do this job, and you're elected to do this job. The job at county is secondary and supplemental. So you're already receiving your fair wage at your township. And to say, I also need to receive $47,000 or more, depending on the role, plus the per diem at county seems an awful lot of supplemental pay, particularly when nobody even really knows what happens at county. So I think that that's part of the concern. But I also think that it's a lot to bring in a short amount of time when, municipalities are struggling with things like, how do we pay for water and sewer? How do we pay for policing and all those other things? And it's really trying to get paid for two full-time jobs when one is your primary job and part-time. It's supposed to be part-time, and then your second one is even more part-time. So I think those are the reasons why there's a feeling that, 167 or that 18 to 47,000 is a very big jump to make. And so, I support that it needs to be looked at again. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be a raise, but I'm not sure that that's the right raise. But I also don't think it's my role to determine what that number is. I think that that's what the governance committee at Simcoe County would do, and they would only probably take another look at it if all of the municipalities are heard and they send their feedback back to county that says we don't approve.
Okay.
Sorry,
yeah.
I was at the last county meeting. Did they not take a vote to review it themselves?
No, the reconsideration now is the composition, whether we stay at 32 members or drop to 16.
I apologize.
They want to take another look at that. And again, based on the salary now that the job pays what it should pay, now they're going to look at it and say, do we look at downsizing the council? So, but that's a whole discussion for another day. So we had good discussion on this. All in favor of endorsing? All opposed?
Hang on, we'll need a recorded vote, I think, right?
Recorded vote, sure. On the amendment to endorse.
Counselor Bell,
In support.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
Opposed.
Mayor Clark,
Opposed?
Counselor Fisher is absent. Counselor Goff,
Opposed.
Counselor Snatch,
In support.
and Counselor you.
Opposed.
That motion is defeated.
Okay, so now I have a motion to receive as information. Moved by Counselor Goff and second by the deputy mayor to receive as information. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 9.7, and I think what we're looking, if this is, this was the one to send to committee of the whole and get the back information is what you're looking for, Counselor Bell. So a motion to move it, that we receive and forward to a committee of the whole. The next committee of the whole. Moved by Counselor Bell, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. And lastly was that we endorse that we receive the information from Wawa and that we endorse. So moved by Counselor Bell, again, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? That is the one over the impact. That is carried. Thank you. Reports of committee as a whole. So now we are on reports from committees and boards. So I have the first one that we adopt the committee of the whole report 12/24 dated December 9th, 2024 as presented, and that's the committee minutes. I'm just seeing we have them here in printed version. So can I have a mover and a seconder to put on the floor? Moved by Counselor Goff, second by Counselor Tuyu. I see we do have the amendment of the $765 for the community center for their permit. The rest is all there. Take a few minutes if you'd like. Just looking at checking, we did have some items information. I wanted to see if we got them. Staff report be brought forward. Yeah, we have two staff reports coming in the future for the CIP and one for the jurisdiction and discussion. I think they were coming at different meetings, but at future meetings. Any questions or concerns? Counselor Goff. Got your mic on there, Joe?
Oh, sorry, I thought I had it on. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Back to item 6.7. We also didn't take into account with the Brecken Center there, the OPP that are based there. Instead of, we're closing the second branch of the library, but we're also going to have to move them out of there, are we not?
No, they're not open to the public. They're not open to the public. It's it would fall under staff, whatever requirements are for staffing, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, that was the difference. Yeah, they're not open to the public. But it was a good point. Yep. Any other questions? So did I have a mover, Amber? Do you remember? I have a mover and a seconder. So all in favor of the committee of the report? That is carried. Thank you. So I have the Trails Committee now that we received the Ramara Trails Committee minutes dated October 16, 2024 as information. Moved by Councillor Snutch, second by Councillor Tuyu. Questions arising? All in favor? That is carried. Next, the Committee of Adjustment approved meeting minutes dated October 1st, 2024 be received as information. Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Bell. Questions arising from those ones? Seeing any? All in favor? That is carried. That the Committee of Adjustment draft meeting minutes dated November 5th, 2024 be received as information. Moved by Councillor Bell again, Councillor Deputy Mayor. Questions arising from those minutes? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Lagoon City Parks and Waterways that we received the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission meeting minutes dated September 12th, 2024 as information. Moved by Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Goff. Any business arising from those minutes? Not seeing any. All in favor? I'll slow down again. I see some folks looking at your computers. So I do have another special Lagoon City minutes that we received the special Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission meeting minutes dated September 24th, 2024 as information. Moved by Councillor Bell, second by the Deputy Mayor. Questions or comments on that? Because I know I'm going through them quickly.
So no, I
saw
know
you.
you were watching me. It's because we did have a presentation and I want to make sure that people know about it and watch it. And
Yeah.
so I was trying to look at the minutes and see, but it wasn't in these minutes. Yeah. So I was.
Oh, it's in the previous one?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I think it must have been in October and that's what I was trying
Oh.
to scan. I remember I looked at these once and I just couldn't remember if I saw it. So anyway, that's.
Okay, well, as a flashback, folks get back and watch the October presentation. So on these minutes, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And lastly, the economic development that we received the economic development minutes dated September 18th, 2024 as information. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Goff. Questions arising? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. And items requiring immediate attention to council, we have none, and we have no unfinished or new business. We have the county councillor highlights. So I have a motion that we receive the county council highlights dated November 12th, 2024 as information. Moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Bell. Questions or comments? The mention is in there about the vote to reconsider, I believe is in these ones that will come back in January. I think it requires a 2/3 majority, but it did have a 2/3 majority to put it on the floor. At the meeting you were at, I think we had a 2/3 majority to relook at the composition of council. So all in favor of receiving? That is carried. Thank you. Announcements and inquiries. Members of council. Deputy Mayor.
Just want to remind everybody the Santa Claus Parade this Saturday in Washago. It's at 5 p.m. starts.
5 p.m. Good. Look forward to it. Any other announcements and inquiries? Councillor Bell.
I think I don't know how many tickets they have, but the Legion is deciding to do something for New Year's Eve. So there is an event occurring for New Year's.
Eve
Yeah.
event. Good. And of course, it's been said already. I hope everybody at home has a wonderful holiday season and keep an eye on all the local events that'll be going on in the area. So request for reports from member of council, Councillor Goff.
Yeah, I guess this is sort of directed to our CAO. I know Oro, there was just an article in Array Matters regarding public information and inquiries and how to be more transparent. I was wondering if you could maybe see what kind of a bylaw for public engagement that they are looking at.
Got any information first?
Mr. Mayor, through you to the councillor, should anybody wish to continue having a conversation with me, Councillor Goff, I'd reach out to my former colleagues. That was supposed to be humorous, Councillor, but I will follow up. I know that there's a number of initiatives. It's been a while since I've chatted with the new chief
I
administrative
know it was
officer.
just yesterday, I believe, for public engagement, a process that they're going through, and they hired some company for $12,000 a year ongoing. That maybe we could.
Ashley, maybe there's something on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I read the report. So basically they have a policy that they're stating for community engagement. So how they'll how they will engage with the public. But the website that they are creating. So when you think back to our Reach Out Ramara, it's a website similar to like that. It's a community engagement type of platform where you can conduct surveys and get opinions, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like the website that we had prior to.
There's probably a staff report I can follow up.
We'll get a follow-up staff report. So do you need a motion? You should have a motion for a staff report on that. Moved by Councillor Goff, second by the deputy mayor. So all in favor of the staff report coming, we'll follow up on what our neighbors are up to. So that carried. Madam Clerk. We'll keep an eye on our neighbors. Any other requests for reports? Councillor Bell.
The only thing I was wondering about is the ONSAT program, and I know they haven't talked too much about it yet, but that is to implement Starlink. So the province and Starlink have reached an agreement, and that announcement was only just made. So I know there's not going to be a lot of details on it, but if there's details coming this way, it would be great to see them on a committee of the whole too. And I know we still have an open, an incompleted internet across the township, but it would be interesting to just know what the ONSAT thing looks like and how it works and who's eligible for it. I've gone in to read it, but very high level. I admit I haven't spent a lot of time yet, so I would imagine something will come, and so I'm hoping we'll see that on an upcoming committee of the
I'm
whole.
looking at Ashley. You'll be watching that and bringing a report in the new year on our internet anyway, will you not?
Absolutely. And I did see that because I was like, I felt like they were listening to us when I got all of a sudden I got the bulletin. So I was looking into who is eligible because I was trying to think of, is there any spots within our community that when fiber is going to take a long time to get to and wireless is very difficult to get to, but there hasn't been any updates. So I was just kind of waiting until we receive something else.
So I don't think we need a report. I think one is coming as soon as you have information.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Anything to add, Sherry?
No, I was just going to say, just for the public, and because we've brought it up, I know there was a question about snow, if snow gets on the dish or whatever. And the dish it can clear its own snow. It has a mode that you can put it into to help clear snow from it. So I just thought I'd mention that while we're on.
Yeah, I have one, and only when the power's out does it ever get snowed up. The rest of the time it stays clear.
It sends an email to the owner saying, come up and clean it.
Well, it's when the power's out. When I turn the power back on, I gotta go sweep it off, right? Okay, so that was it. Request for reports. If there's no more, then notices of motion. Don't recall seeing any. I'll do the bills and bylaws and then the in-camera. Is that okay, Jen? Okay, so for the bylaws, I'm just scrolling down here. Recommendation of bills number 2024-63, 2024-64, 2024-65, 2024-66, 2024-67, 2024-68, and 2024-69 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed as bylaws. Everybody's seen them. Moved by Councillor Goff, second by the deputy mayor. Questions on the bylaws? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
I can go back to 2466.
Yes.
This is about
That's the quarry up.
quarry,
Yes.
changing the road.
Yes.
Do we have an update if this was supposed to be done based on the snowmobile trail going through, correct?
Yeah, it's I don't know.
on the ground.
What can we share publicly on that?
Mr. Mayor, early this morning, staff were in receipt of correspondence from Mr. Ewart. We were planning on having an update with council in closed session on that matter. Mr. Ewart indicated that no agreement had been forthcoming from the other legal counsel. Hence, there's nothing else has happened, Councillor.
So why would we pass the bylaw? To give them what they want. Stop up and close.
All right, tell you what we'll do. We'll pull that bylaw if I may, and we'll discuss it separately. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just discuss it separately. And we'll pass all the other ones first. And we'll have a separate discussion on that. So all in favor of the other bylaws? That is carried. So now that we approve 2024-66. So now we'll have the discussion on it. So it's on the floor now.
Mr. Mayor, if I could
Carry
provide
on,
some
Bob.
clarity, the decision before council pass a bylaw that will authorize the stop up and close, you need to overlay the agreement that was what we were going to provide an update to council that didn't happen with legal counsel for the other party has not been concluded. So you still need the tool, the bylaw to stop up and close, and then you overlay the agreement that
When
would
we
put
have
in
it.
place the details of that.
So you're telling me then that there's no way this will be completed unless the trail opens?
Well, the agreement has to be in place prior to the turning over of the road. First, we have to close it prior to anything else that can take place.
How many days does
I'm
it,
not-
how many days do you have to post this? Is it 15?
So you stop up, close, and then we have to hear of anybody that has a vested interest on the road prior to entering any permanent agreement. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it said in the agreement before we had to have the snowmobile trail and they didn't abide by that.
Right. Well, we have different options on the floor now,
Yeah.
but I can't discuss the in camera unless council feels we need to go back in camera, but
So last point to try and provide some clarity, the actual conveyance transfer will not take place until the agreement is executed. What
Was
was,
the agreement include the opening of that trail? That's all I'm asking.
yes,
yes, it will.
Absolutely, 100%.
yes.
Yeah, that was part of the,
Okay. So on the bylaw now, moved by Councillor Goff, second by the deputy mayor. The bylaw 2024-66 be considered read a first, second, and third time, finally passed as bylaw. Did I get it right, Madam Clerk? I did. All in favor? Opposed of any? Waiting to see which way you go, Dave.
Sorry, I'm in agreement, yeah.
And all in favor, okay, that is carried. Yep. So now I have the closed minutes, so then I'll let the clerk read these, or I can read the first one, 18.1. Okay, that we received the resignation letter from the Rooted in Ramara Committee member Geraldine Crawshaw, and that we thank her for her years of service and that we direct staff to advertise for the Rooted in Ramara Committee position. Moved by Councillor Bell, second by Councillor Goff. All in favor? That is carried. Next, that we appoint, and I need somebody to read the names out for me. Make my, yeah. Yeah.
Bob Mettings and Alan Michael.
Okay, to the Ramara Trails Committee, moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu. All in favor? That is carried. That we appoint
Alan Michael,
to the Ramara Alan Michael O'Brien, to the Ramara Economic Development Committee, moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu. All in favor? That is carried. We did not get a verbal update on, or did we, on phase 3? Yes, we did.
yes, you did, sir.
Yeah, so that we received phase 3 verbal update as information, moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Snutch. All in favor? That is carried. And the meeting minutes, that the special council meeting minutes dated November 25th, 2024 be adopted as presented, moved by Councillor Goff, second by Councillor Tuyu. All in favor? That is approved, and we didn't have the litigation matter, correct?
that's correct.
We had no update on that one, so it was removed from the agenda. So that the bylaw 2024-93, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on the 9th day of December 2024 be considered read a first, second, and third time, finally passed. Moved by Counselor Goff, second by Counselor Tuyu. All in favor? That is carried. We now adjourn at 2:44 PM until January 27th. January 6th. Yeah, that'll have to be corrected because it's a combination. January 6th, 2025 at 7. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, second by Counselor Goff. All in favor? That is carried, and everybody have a wonderful holiday.